Welcome back to another video. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been a long time, but let's just jump right in. So I'm going to be doing a fill on my client's nails. She does have colored acrylic, and these are her natural nails, most of them for the most part. So I'm just using my triple X bit to remove the bulk or majority of the product, removing, all the color, all the design. And I'm using it just being really careful, really gentle. And she wanted to cut down, so I'm using the bit to also remove some of that length as well. You have to be really careful with this bit. You can really hurt yourself, you can really hurt your clients. I have been doing nails for 4 years. April made 4 years. So I've been using this bit maybe a year and a half now. Maybe. I bought it back in 2018, and I didn't start using it until maybe a year ago. So it might be a year and a half, give or take. But I'm just removing all of that. Underneath the colored acrylic is a thin layer of clear acrylic. And I always do that to my clients. If they're a regular client, if they're not a regular client, you never know if a new client is going to come back or not, but it's nice to set them up so that way if they do come back, you know what you're working with. So I do this with majority of my sets. That way I can do this process and remove the bulk of the nail and still have something to work with. And it leaves the options endless for the next set. If I was to use something really dark or something really bright, I would have to tell her like, oh, I'm sorry, we're not able to do that. We'd have to soak it off and do a whole new set, and who wants to do that? That's such a pain. So you can do either a clear, you could do a natural, you can do a light pink. It's really a preference. I believe she had a nude, a really soft nude color. So now I'm going to push back her cuticles. And on this finger, I don't remember why, but she said she broke it. And in this video, I show you guys how I fixed that as well. So I'm just using the cuticle pusher to push back that cuticle. And I like doing this because it removes that layer of cuticle that's on the nail plate, and it gives you more room to work with. So sometimes I'll have a client come and she'll say like, oh, I have really short nail beds. It's okay, because we're going to push back that cuticle and we're going to expose some of that nail that's under there that you can't even see. I'm going in now with a medium sanding band. I like to get my sanding bands from Koopa. They have pretty good quality sanding bands. When I prep the nail bed, I'm right-handed, so I always work from right to left, and I start in that bottom right corner and just work my way around. I go around the cuticle. If it's a natural nail, I go around the cuticle right to left, and then I go over the top part of the nail where the tip will go. But because this is a fill, I'm going to go around the cuticle right to left, and then where the nail and the acrylic meet, I like to clean that up real good. So remove any lifting, help level out the nail plate with the acrylic, and then I go over the rest of the nail that is exposed and just level that out and melt it all together. I also go over the acrylic that I filed away the design prior, because when you're going over and removing the design, you're creating indentations in your foundation. So I just like to smooth all of that out, make it nice like butter. I remove all of the dust, and I'm using some lint free wipes and some swipe from Young Nails. I just recently started using it and I actually really like it. I don't use dehydrator, but it would make a good dehydrator. So these are the products that I'm going to be using. I have a white acrylic that I mix together myself. I mix it myself because I add glow in the dark to it. So I pulled that out. I pulled out a pink color, and then I'm going to prep her nails using Young Nails Protein Bond. I have literally been using this stuff since I started, even as a beginner nail tech, just like practicing on myself and other people. I have been using this stuff. And actually, that first year, I went to um, Premiere Orlando. It's a really big like cosmetology showcase in Orlando that they have here in Florida, and I learned so much from Young Nails. So I'm starting by applying a small bead of this nude natural pink color. It wasn't until after that I realized that the color that I was using in the bag was not the same color that she already had on her nails. But because of the design she asked for, and because both colors were so light, it blended together really well. But I made it work. So I'm just picking up a bead of white and then a bead of pink and marbling them together. When I do a design, I will normally do it a couple different ways until I find a way that really works, and then I stick with it. But with this design, there is no like wrong way, I would say, but I just want to say, like, I guess you could say it's hard to like mess this design up because it's such a natural look. It's inspired by, the actual like rose quartz stone. So these are like natural elements. It's like earth's beauty. There is like with French, like it's like pink and white cut smile line. And with this design, you have a lot of room to just be creative and create, you know. It in that moment it may look like who did it and why. But once you finish and everything just ties and flows together, you're just like, wow, I really created that. I really did that. So on this hand, I used the pink and white method, and then on the other hand, I switched to clear and white. So I started picking up the clear bead first and then the white, versus me picking up white and then pink. Or I fill it with the pink and then I just kind of marble them and water them together, and then just putting in the gold foil pieces wherever I see fit, wherever I feel like it's going to be a good look, a good match. So I just continued to do this on the rest of the nails. If anybody's interested, the brush that I'm using is from Vanessa's Nails. I ordered a couple of her. She had a whole like glow in the dark collection, and my clients are really big on the glow. You know what? I think that's what I did. I used the pink that I used for her nails is another glow in the dark color that I mixed together as well. So my clients really love that glow. I feel like that's what I'm really known for. Like what my clients really know me for is the glow in the dark. I believe that this was the first nail I started doing the white or clear and white method. And I liked that a lot better. I liked the way it looked a lot better versus doing the pink and white. So you can see, like, I literally only backfilled her nail with the pink acrylic, and I didn't even drag it or bring it out. And that's what I was saying, leaving a clear or neutral base really sets the tone and the foundation for the rest of the nail. So that saved me a lot of time and a lot of effort. So when she comes back to get her nails done, literally the only thing I'm going to file away is the clear acrylic that I used to encapsulate, the gold foil, and the white marble design. And you can even see the amount of product that I used for the pink and white marble was very minimal. So that's going to save me a lot of time. And I feel like in the beauty industry, when you're offering a service, time is money. Money is time. So the more time you can save yourself, the more effective, the more efficient you can be, working smarter, not harder, the more money you can make, the less strain on your body, and just overall, like, better for your clients as well, because nobody wants to be sitting in the salon for hours. Sometimes I even check myself, like, wow, that took me 2-3 hours, just really asking myself, what could I have done better? What could I have, made it to be more whatever. So the difference between her nails and a set that I would do on another client using tips is the way that they look at the end. They don't look as crispy, or at least to me, I feel that way, or they don't look like as artificial. But that's because they are her natural nails. Like, she's been coming to me for months repetitively, and because she keeps up with her nails and I don't make her cut her nails down or cut them off and we start over, we're able to preserve her natural nail, and it just has a different look because these are your natural nails. This is your nails natural grow pattern and natural form. So I could balance them out, but I didn't want to take away from her natural nail, which is, it kind of seems like counterproductive or like the same thing. But um, when you are balancing out that nail, I have to take the drill and file the bottom half of the nail. So if this was any other client who was coming back and I was rebalancing their nail, I would just be filing away the tip or old acrylic. But in her case, I am filing away her natural nail. So I wanted to be careful of that. But now I'm just encapsulating all her nails with a nice size of clear acrylic. I'm using my Young Nails acrylic to encapsulate, and I'm using the one bead method. So I start at the cuticle and I just move my way down. Most of the acrylic, sits at the belly or where the weight is going to be at. And I'm coming back and adding a bead of acrylic to the edge to help give that shape. And like I said, most of the acrylic sat at the stress point of the nail. So because most of it sat there, there's nothing left for the free edge. So I like to just go back and add a bead because I noticed that it helps better with the shape. Now on this nail, I decided to start 3/4 of the way up Don't ask me why I did it. Who knows? One thing I did notice is the encapsulating. Like this brush, I believe it's a size 10 that I'm using. It's good for design, but for encapsulating, I should use a bigger brush. I have bigger brushes, 12, 14, 16, but they kind of just sit there. When I get stuck on one brush, I kind of get stuck on one brush. And it's okay to go back and forth between different brushes in the same service. If I was to use a bigger brush, I probably would have been able to do her thumbnail, which is a bigger nail, with the one ball method versus having to go in. But I don't know. So now I am just going through checking. So here I am fixing or replacing her nail. So that is actually included in my price. So a fill, I charge $55 for a fill, and that includes if you broke a nail, that includes your new design. So the broken nail is included. So I just go ahead, add the tip on, prep it just like I would any other time. And because this was a new nail that I was doing, I went ahead and used pink for the entire nail instead of trying to find the nude color. And I honestly believe it doesn't make a big difference. Excuse me. The only difference that I feel like it would make is when they glow in the dark. She'll be able to see that. But you have to be like really here. I live in Florida, so if it's always hot over here. So if you're outside and you go from literally being outside to in your car, or if you live in like an apartment complex with the hallway and you walk in the hallway, then they're gonna glow. But you're not just like out and they're glowing, you know. Now I'm going to file and put in her shape. I like to use an 80/80 nail file grit. I got this from a nail tech that I used to work for. I used to file super super hard, and then I realized I seen a lady that I sell product to. I'm like, she barely looked like she filed. So when I stopped filing so hard and I used a lighter touch, I realized that my shape was coming out so much better, so much cleaner, so much crispier. I would not suggest using this nail file if you are a beginner. You will cut your client if you do not score the file. And if you are not paying attention, I promise you, you will cut your client. And they're not going to feel it at first. At first, they're not going to feel it. But once you look back down and see what you're doing, you're just going to be like, what did I do? And that is a really painful area. Any cut is going to hurt. But, you know, around the cuticle area, that's a really sensitive area. And we want to stay blood free as possible. I'm going back in with the medium sanding band, and I'm just using that to clean around the cuticle area and to smooth over that acrylic. I use different bits for different things. So if I felt like I needed to go in with a metal bit and clean up, then I would. But this application was pretty smooth, so I didn't feel like I needed to. And I felt like going in with the sanding band would be enough. That's not always going to be the case, but in this case it was. Something that I've always done is started in the bottom right corner at an angle and then worked my way from left to right. But when I'm using my bits, when I'm using my e-file on the nail, I always work in one direction. So sometimes I'll see nail techs going like just kind of going crazy and all over the place. I've always worked in one direction, so I'll go right to left, pick my hand up, and go back over, or just going back and forth. After I use the sanding band or whatever bit process I do, I always go back in with the nail file just to clean up anything that the filing from the drill took away, give one last crispy look, and I'll ask my client to, look at it, make sure that everything looks good. If not, let me fix it at this point. And then, because after this, you're going to go wash your hands. We're going to add crystals, anything that's going on top of the nail, and top coat. I've always used these orange buffers. I've thought about getting like small individual buffers so that way when I'm done I could just toss it for a more sanitary process. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed.